Okay. So I've worked with several different kids of different ages with the Safe Toddles cane, and I love it. It's my favorite tool for O&M. I worked with a couple of kids who were just learning to walk or crawl a few years ago, and so I've had that age group, the 1 to 2 to 3 year old kids. And recently, this school year, I have a student who came to me with a white cane. She was 7 at the beginning of the school year, and she was not successful. It wasn't safe for her or anyone else. She was using it as a weapon. she, I maybe could show some videos, Grace, a couple of videos of this little girl who
Yes, definitely. Yes.
she was definitely not using it in the appropriate manner. And she was hitting people with it. Nobody wanted to do sighted guide with her because that was too close and she was leaving bruises on people's shins. And so it wasn't pleasant. And I just felt like we needed to scale back, but really, were you able to access those, Grace?
Yes.
Okay.
So do you want the ones with the cane or?
So yeah, that one yes, I'm looking and I can't see all of them. That 1-30 is that, no, that one's when she had these ones this very last one, ACS white cane video, she is not, it's pretty, she's not keeping it in front of her. She's tripping the person that walks with her.
Let's go find that grade.
She was hitting people with it. It's not previewing anything in her environment. She wasn't using it to detect drop-offs or uneven terrain. She wasn't using it to locate doors. She wasn't actively participating in any part of her route. It was just not successful. And so several months of that was happening, and she's part-time at MSDB, and then she goes to public school for part of her day, and the public school teachers were having problems with her in the lunchroom. I mean, it is in a crowded area like that, it's just not a safe place for her to use the cane, and so then we have to leave the cane in the classroom, which we hate to do also. And so I just thought, after talking to Grace, what do I do with a kid like this, and what if she could use a cane? And she's a smaller little girl. She's pretty thin. And so we were able to get her measured for a cane and get one that fits her. And then Grace, do you want to pull up that video if you can access it, the video that I just showed you, or do you want me to find it?
No, if you have it pulled up, you could share it.
Okay, let me find it. This sharing screen thing is new to me. But this is our girl. This was at the end of February.
Car. Please and Addie's car.
Well, let's go find the van.
Yeah.
Remember if this is one where she moved actively.
I heard Miss T. I think she just went out the door. Let's go.
She did much better.
Go for one.
Yep, let's go find Miss T so she can take you to Lewis and Clark.
Hello. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Bear. Hi, Bear.
So we're having much more success with this. This is the most recent video that I took. I think it was last week. I'll just share this one other because I'm so excited about it. She was excited to go on her ride.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you try to come to me, okay? Find me.
See ya.
There you are. Come on.
Let's go.
Yeah, come on. Good job.
Let's go get your coat. Nice job walking, Addie.
Get your coat on.
Hi.
Hi.
So exciting. So she's 8 years old now. And she just turned 8 recently, but the growth from using the white cane, which wasn't successful, it wasn't safe. Now she's detecting obstacles. We have her going up and down stairs. She is needing some physical prompting to lift the cane to go up the stairs. But when she detects that drop off at the top of a set of stairs, She's going down, she's finding the railing and she's going down those stairs very independently. Whereas before, her white cane didn't know what a drop off was. She wouldn't have detected drop offs, curbs, change in terrain, nothing. And now we have her walking a route to her motor lab and back again. And she's walking that route. She's detecting obstacles. She's going up and down stairs. She's turning corners when she knows she needs to. So the growth from just December till now is huge, just huge. It's so exciting.
This is December when she just so early on in the stairs, right?
Yeah, very early. And we were using a cane that I had in my office that's not even the right size for her. I just wanted to test it out and see what would happen.
So these things don't happen overnight, but it
No.
starts the process that gets
Yeah.
you somewhere a couple months down the road. You got to
And
stick
this
with
is
it.
when she wouldn't touch the cane. She didn't want to put her hands on it at all. So she didn't really help with any part of that back in December. Now we see a different kid.
No. No. No.
Lots of physical prompting to get her to put her hands on it. And
Would you stay going down the stairs before with the long cane, or whether how would that have been different then?
I think she was getting a lot of prompting because of the safety issue. I have a video of her going up the stairs with her white cane, and it just wasn't successful. The cane is everywhere. She doesn't know how to hold it. The staff was having to help her locate the railing. There was no, clearing the first step or knowing where that first step was even at, no anchoring the cane, nothing like that. And so we've come a long way, and I'm really pleased with her progress. It's been huge. So her team at her public school is really happy with her progress too. Going to the lunchroom is not such a danger. She uses that out on the playground. At her public school, the staff is much, much happier with the way that this is going. So do you all have any questions about, I mean, this is obviously not the typical, I don't usually want to start with a white cane. And then in some cases, I think some of the staff and maybe even her mom kind of thought we were working backwards. Why would we go back to this toddler cane when she's not, we need to be using the white cane. And when I explained what the white cane should be doing for her, environmental preview, drop off detection, those kind of things that it wasn't doing, and explained what the belt cane would do, then I think it's not a step backwards. This is moving forward for her. She needed a different tool, and we found a tool that she wouldn't put her hands on anything but the white cane, and that wasn't successful. So I tried other AMDs that I had available, and they weren't successful. She wouldn't keep her hands on them. They were unfamiliar. She didn't like them. And so this was a way of keeping her moving forward safely without having to use her hands right away. And she has taken to it like it's amazing. So, and I think anything is possible if they fit within those size parameters. I think it's awesome. Any other comments or like Blanche or Margie that you want to share?
This is Blanche. I just want to say I have truly enjoyed the progress and really watching your students grow over the last 2 years. It's been really neat. Like I said, it's kind of the same thing with the students that I have done. I've had several students that didn't want to walk. They didn't know where they were in space, and just giving just a little bit, that proprioceptive, like it's really just grounding them. Like even starting out, we put the belt on them, and the next one we do in April is going to talk a little bit about the obstacles and overcoming those. But really, when the kid starts to ask for it, or like you're saying, able to show purposeful movement, even though they may not have their hands on it. It's just been amazing to watch, you know, kids from all different states really just being able to grow with it, and think outside the box. And I'm really glad that we have a PT on here because I think the collaboration is so important. And when I mention this tool and I show them, like, all the PTs get really, really excited and they want to collaborate. So like I said, I'm really excited, everyone that is on here. I think it's, you know, if you haven't tried it, it's definitely something to try. And I love that, you know, you were able to show the progress in even just a small amount of time, to show she seems to be really thriving and really growing and excited about her belt cane and getting to go places.
Yep. It's a big deal around here. We're all pretty excited about it.
Yes, and we can tell.
Yeah. And I also saw right from the beginning when she had the white cane, I noticed that the adult, the teacher or teacher's assistant, was helping her move through the environment with her hand on her back. There was no self movement, you know, self-initiated movement. And so with this, you see already she's feeling a lot more comfortable. And I thought also when she bumped into the table, even though the belt cane didn't really pick up on that right then, she was not disturbed at all about bumping into that table. And it was just a huge difference in what we saw from the beginning. So I thought that looked really, really good.
Yep. She's doing great. Does anybody have any questions or comments about, you know, using it with kids who are not toddlers? We think about toddlers using it most of the time, but I mean, it's a pretty big group of kids that can use it and benefit.
This is Jenny. I'm sorry, I put my video off, but my biggest concern is that the kids that I'm using the belted cane with is, and the older kids, not the younger kids, but the older kids who are like 7, 8, it's their sense of understanding purposeful movement, that they're not just engage and moving through the environment, and whatever they encounter they interact with, but it's getting from point A to point B. And that's where I'm really struggling, because I think there's a gap there, that if they're not understanding that they can purposefully move from point A to point B to get where they a destination, there's no motivation. So there's no motivation to keep their hands on the cane. There's no motivation to pay attention to what's going on around them and learn about their environment and how they can move through the environment. So I'm really struggling with that. And a lot of it might be cognitive. It might be that they're not engaged in the world that's going on immediately around them. They're in their own little world, whatever it might be. But if we want them to be able to move safely through their environment, they have to understand that they're in charge and they're moving through their environment actively and participating in where they're going, not just being told what to do or interacting with whatever they encounter. And so that's a real struggle for me. And the belted cane helps with the movement in a forward position and not the cane behind them or on to their side, and that, so for safety reasons it's great. But my little guy he's figured out he doesn't need to hold on to the cane. He can push it with his stomach. So he's busy eye poking and pulling his ears or hand flapping or whatever he's doing. So he's still not purposefully moving through the environment. And that's my biggest struggle. And I don't know if anybody has any ideas, thoughts.
And I have a student that does that too. And we took the belt off, and the belt coming off was kind of a parent request too, because he recently had a G-tube put in and they didn't want him wearing the belt with the G-tube. He didn't use a cane safely either. And he's also 8. 8 years old, and we just took the belt off. And then he had to use, he also is a walker he does the eye poking as he's walking. He's always in his own head singing whatever song he heard on the radio on repeat all day long. And so paying attention to the route and where he's going. And like you said, purposeful movement wasn't in his toolbox yet. But once I took the belt off, and it wasn't just about moving your whole body through space, and he had to be responsible for holding the cane. And his teacher has been really great about giving him tactile symbols. So today's route was he was going to the nurse. He was going to see the nurse, and she gave him 2 symbols saying, are you going to the bathroom or are you going to the nurse? And he picked the nurse, and he knows that route. He goes there every day. And I'll be darned if he didn't walk that route. I observed, and I was there the whole time, but he held onto the cane. And now, after a couple months of holding the cane and pushing it in front of him, he's started letting go with one hand and reaching out into his environment to feel landmarks, to find the corner so he knows where to turn. He feels the lockers that are a landmark. So it's kind of helping. It really started with just taking the belt off because of the G-tube, and then we kind of had to figure out how we're gonna, and he needed some prompting at first and a little hand over hand help holding the cane. But again, we just kept sort of working through that little obstacle, and now he's holding it himself and pushing it himself. I think so I don't know if your student is at that point where maybe he doesn't need the belt, but could try it using his hands on the cane, if that might help.
No, he's not using the belt because the belt is too small. The
Oh,
cane, the only cane I have is, but it fits him perfectly, and he can push the cane with his stomach, so he doesn't have to use his cane. So I would like to actually have a little bit bigger cane, so he has to hold on to it with his hands. But because he would prefer to do other things with his hands if he can, and he's figured out. So I'm at a quandary. I need to investigate how to get a bigger cane, a larger, wider cane for him. So he needs to hold on to it so it's not snug on his belly, and he can push it with his cane, with his belly, because he's figured that one out pretty quickly. But yeah, it's just, it's really hard for kids who have lots of other issues, who they'll engage with whatever they contact, but they're not purposefully moving from point A to point B. And that's not necessarily a mobility issue or a vision issue, but it is an issue, and it needs to be addressed, because if they're totally blind, they're going to need some sort of protection to travel through their environment safely.
Yeah.
And understand what that protection means and why they're using it.
Have you been able to find a motivator, that he really, really likes, something he really likes, and started off at a short distance from him, so that he gets that real, whatever it is, to move to that, at least maybe just even in a sitting, you may have already passed this. I'm just asking, and just off the top of my head, but if he's, if he knows where the object is and he can just reach out and get it, that's a quick, if that's the motivator initially, and then to start moving it beyond reach to get there, to go ahead and do whatever it is. Does he have any kind of motivators, or is he?
Oh yeah, we've got to bop it. We walk with in front of us, and that's a motivator. But yeah, and it is sometimes working, and sometimes not. And again, I'm not saying anything that any of you don't deal with every day and stuff. You get these youngsters who are just,
Can I?
depends on where they are in their
Jenny,
time.
what is his vision?
He's totally blind.
So here's the thing. It sounds like you need a bigger belt cane, and it sounds like he might have outgrown our biggest size. Is that true? Do you know?
Yes, I would absolutely agree with that 100%, because
So
if it
he's
was
bigger
little
than a
bigger-
9L, right? Is that what
Yeah.
we're hearing?
Well,
So-
I was only using what was available in
Well, take
our
his measurements, because here's the
office.
thing. I think that for me, as O&M specialists that we are sitting around talking about this, the only reason we have a field is because of the long white cane was finally invented in 1945. And before that, there was a dog. But before that, only adventitiously blind people got canes. So
Yeah.
the thing is, we have to find ways that they can wear it all the time. All the time. So he's having a hard time wearing it because he's got to like stick it on him. And it's not good. So if you want to see if we can make it
small.
yeah, if we
need
can make him a
cane.
bigger one, let us make you a bigger one and let us see
Okay.
like where he's at physically. We've always toyed with the idea of making the 10. So let's see
So-
where he's at. Not always are they at a 10. Maybe he has a 25-inch waist and he's going to be
So-
okay with a 9.
So you want me to take his waist measurement and his height?
Reach out to info at SafeT. I'll put it in the at safechild.org, and you're already in the system, it sounds like. Talk to Bill. He'll send you a measurement guide
Okay.
that you can look at. It's got videos. He's very helpful with that. And you can go back and forth with you as much as needed to get it right. Let's find out where he's at. But I think
Okay.
the more we can get them to wear it, because what SafeT does, Jenny, is it doesn't tell you where you are. You're right. And
No,
it
no,
doesn't
and
occupy your time, but all it does is most of the time it protects you with a 2-step safety barrier. Everything else after that is about the same. Whatever else you want to work on with all of those other skills, TBI, PT, sports, academic, everything else happens in that same realm with those same professional goals. All we're doing is providing the 2-step safety buffer that a blind child must have.
Oh,
That's it.
absolutely.
You know, that's
Yeah.
all so there's nothing we can now, but you'll know all that other stuff. After you got
I
the
really-
buffer.
Yeah, I really
Let's
do
get it
think
fixed
that if
out.
he has to hold his hands on the cane to make himself
Or
move
could he hold
through
a
the
ball?
environment.
Can he hold a ball and throw a ball? Can he let go of
Yeah.
1,000 things? But
Yeah.
each time he has to hold something else, or have to pick the ball up and put it over here, and then you
Right.
pick this other one and put it over here, or we have to carry it to Granny because Granny needs this desperately, and she needs him to bring it to her so they can play with it. Like there's just lots of things we could be doing that is fun.
Yeah.
That now we're safe. Let's shoot for the moon. But anyway, I've already said too much.
No,
To me,
that's okay.
all
No,
it's about. It's just about safety.
I will check out and see if I can get a larger cane, a wider cane for him. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments or stories that you want to tell us about kids that you've used a belt cane with?
I did have a question, and I'm glad to have a PT a part of this as well, but I have a few students who have some physical limitations, and we've kind of graduated from those push walkers or physical focused plans, and now I'm wondering about, either liability or the fact that, like, if a student does fall, does it kind of have that safety, flexibility that they can prevent their fall? Or I just want to kind of know more about that.
Like something that helps them with stability, like
Yeah, so his
gait
gait is
trainer
already unnatural, but he's now moving more independently. So he's got weakness in his left hand, so he needs one hand to essentially catch his balance or trail a wall. So I'm thinking to wear it with cane, but do I need to make sure a PT kind of blesses off that he's physically ready or able to use it?
I think collaboration with the PT is always a good idea. But if he's using something else, did you say he is using a
Not anymore.
he doesn't need
Not
that
anymore. Right.
because the
But yet
belt
he's
cane
still
can be worn with a gait trainer or a walker if needed, but I mean we still want that environmental preview, so I think the belt cane is a good place to start, and collaborating with the rest of the team and knowing how it's going to be used is a good idea. Did you have something to Blanche?
No, that's what I was just gonna say, that the belt cane can be worn with a walker. I've had success with one of my little ones where we were able to use the walker and then the belt cane, and then actually we took the belt cane off because it was kind of the same thing. She was kind of in transition for getting another walker, and she started just kind of running with her walker, so we took the belt cane off. But I agree, I would definitely consult with the PT to make sure that the kid is ready. Now, to kind of answer your question, the flip side of that, June's not on here, but her little one, he would take off with it. He would fall with it several times, and he would just kind of wiggle his way and stand right back up. You know what I'm saying? So it does take a little bit of practice, but on the flip side of that, there have been many kids that have used it, fallen over, gotten right back up, gone down slides with it, done all kinds of crazy things with the belt cane. But yes, I would definitely, especially it sounds like he just transitioned out of like the gait trainer. And so, you know, just starting slow and steady would be my thing.
Yeah, I appreciate that because you know, I think PTs and O&M absolutely view falling differently. And so yeah, I'm with you, and I appreciate that support that it is indeed, you know, a fluid device. But yeah, thank you.
Of course.
It's a really good, I mean, while the kids are wearing the belt cane, they can sit down and play on the floor. They can stand back up again, and there's multiple different ways for them to get up. And right now we're working on, you know, with Addie, when she wears it to motor lab, the physical therapist and the occupational therapist are working on what are her current motor patterns that she does when she's standing up on her own, and they're trying to work on, you know, maybe some better patterns and ways of getting her to stand up while she's wearing it. But what she already does is, because she's just a little tiny thing, she just puts her feet flat on the floor next to her, and then she just pops right up. So she already has some coping skills for when she falls down or when she sits. And so I think the idea, I've also seen other kids that will side sit and pull their knees around to the side and then stand, you know, kind of kneel and then get up that way. And so I think it depends on the kid and what they're used to and how they're used to getting up. I've also seen kids fall down accidentally playing out in the grass, and the belt cane just popped right off. And so then it wasn't an injury thing. They, you know, fell down and the belt cane popped off, and the kid popped back up and said, "Oh no, my cane." And we put the cane back on and they kept playing. So I think it's kind of a natural childhood thing that once they're moving, they fall down, and some of that is our reaction to it. You know, if we go, "Oh no, oh my gosh." And if our reaction is, "Oh, whoops, you fell down," and then we don't quite make a big deal out of it. Of course, that's depending on the physical capabilities and physical limitations of each student. There are some kids that I definitely don't want to fall, but for the tiny ones that are just learning how to run and they're playing and that kind of thing, I think it's just part of growing up. So when they fall, I think the belt cane is really good. It is fluid, like you said. It's a fluid tool, and it kind of rolls with the punches when the kid falls or stands up or sits down or those kind of things. Does that make sense?
Yep. It looks like Callie also has some questions and concerns. She wanted to get some input. So Callie?
Yeah, so I'm the physical therapist, and I have two kiddos that are currently using belt canes. And similar to what Jenny was talking about earlier with her kiddos kind of just being there and not really knowing where they are in space. One of my kiddos that I'm using the belt cane with has charge syndrome. I actually talked with Grace about this kiddo at another time too, just because I'm kind of struggling with, my friend is we are deaf blind. So we have no hearing. We have very low like light vision, maybe about 12 to 14 inches from our face. So my kid will walk all day with a belt cane, which is great. But he doesn't like the belt cane anymore and would prefer to walk without it. We're kind of running into this issue of, I think it's more of an independence thing. Like, I like to do it by myself. We don't like to wear a helmet. We have very bad protective reactions. We just kind of fall like a tree. So I'm running into the issue of safety with him because we're at a developmental preschool. He's in class all day, trying to get the teachers to wear it in class. We sometimes wear it. He doesn't like to wear it at home. He's more in a familiar environment. He can kind of like finagle his way around. Um, so that's kind of one of my bigger concerns with him. If you guys have any suggestions on how to, now that he's learned to walk without it, I guess, like how to like make him go back to using it more as a safety device and kind of like letting him know where he is navigating versus just like walking and then just hoping we don't run into something. As well as just keeping his hands on it. I think my friend's a big stimmer, so we'll just like kind of like hand stim down the hallway. He gets really fast and he'll like catch himself on the cane, like realizing that he's getting outside of his base of support, but he still is just directional. We just kind of like follow light. There's not really a good like source or motivator that gets him moving. I guess it's kind of my first place.
Are there classes or teachers that he really likes? Any places that he likes to go that would motivate him to carry the cane and keep pushing it in front of him?
We like to swing. We do a lot of bucket swing. So we had this big regression where we weren't using the cane at all. Like if you put the cane on him, he just laid on the floor. So we're finally getting back to that. We kind of like we've just been doing like walk to the swing, swing, walk back. So PT looked pretty not fun. But yes and no. Like I said, I don't think I think there's definitely like a cognition part. I think we recognize like we do a lot of like hand stuff, like I'll tap twice for me and like therapists and things like that. But my kiddo is kind of like he just does his own thing. Like he's in an activity chair. We don't get to be exposed to a lot of other kids, which a lot is just the classroom struggles to get him out because he's not safe. So no, like we like the swing. That's about the only motivator that we really have. He's in a classroom full of a lot of other kiddos that pull on his cane because it looks cool, which doesn't help his safety either. So even just, I guess, like, and I've talked with Grace too, like even just trying to get like some kind of education or something that I can pass along to the teachers, because both my kiddos that are in belt canes are in the same classroom and we kind of have the same struggle. My other kiddo is a little more, she's just blind. She can hear, so we'll kind of like, we're motivated by music, and I can do a little bit more like just tactile cueing at like our back and our shoulders, and she tends to do better with it. And she's also like, she was trailing walls and stuff, not really trailing, but at least like finding walls, and utilizing those to kind of like help her navigate around things. But my little guy, he's a spitfire, and we're just kind of not a very safe fella when we're going.
Do you guys mind if I chime in?
No, go for it.
Because I know, we've had, as she said, we've been talking about these two littles. And as she did say, I think the broader struggle is the struggle that we're all facing, is we've never had a usage requirement. Even Jason is like, well, I'm not sure I'm allowed to even tell a PT that I want my child to use this thing, right? Like I got to get permission. And hey, I mean, I'm putting it in a bad way. You didn't mean to say it that way, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're the therapist of record for white canes, and you'll put it on an IEP or IFSP or whatever the age child is. And that is how we get it into the hands of the child. And then the white cane has a very narrow thing. In fact, if you look at the dictionary, mobility comes before orientation, right? So first we have to have safe mobility, and then we can learn. And so all the white cane is doing is providing a two-step safety barrier. All these other issues could be solved in unique ways of teaching a child who is deaf as well as blind some systematic activities that he could do while engaging him. So I can think of almost some rehab-esque things that he has these chores to do, that he has to take the books and put them in the stack, or he has to make sure all the mats are someplace, or he has to do something that is meaningful, has a name. So we're going to sign, and you have to do this, you have to take this and put it over here. That's the teacher's job. They need to come up with some meaningful activities, places to go. O&M comes up with places to go, and they're usually quite fun, and you're taking them to a fun place. But O&M concept development is this subcategory called orientation, which is really what we used to teach first. We used to say, let's get them motivated, and then we'll give them some mobility to be safe. And now it's like, no, let's get them safe. First in the dictionary is mobility, and then we'll be able to start sending them out into these really interesting ideas and things, because we won't worry as much. So that's really where it's a very narrow thing that this white cane does, is it just gives them that safety, and everything else is just exciting from then on. That's my philosophy. And it takes a village.
It does. This is Blanche. I just want to say something really quickly. So Callie, first of all, I see you answer the question saying that you're a PT looking to go back to O&M. 100% you need to do that. And then you would be a unicorn. But my question is, so one of my students that I've had a lot of success with, she's 8 years old. She actually goes back and forth between the belt cane and a regular cane. She has nicknames for both of them. And like mom and the teacher's like, which is not, like I said, they don't go back and forth usually, but what's happening is she's making a choice. And so she's either putting her belt cane on or she's putting her straight cane on. And she's actively moving. It really has to depend on her mood. But my question to you, Callie, is the kiddo, it sounds like they're stimming and they're not wanting to hold on to the cane. Are they able to hold the cane? And when I say that, what about modifying the cane and doing like either a T or an L on the end? I've been fortunate enough to know Lynn Gotro, and so we have modified every type of cane, but basically this would allow them to push the cane and still give them the frontal protection. And if like they have trouble just staying to the side, you could do the L as opposed to the T joint. So I guess that would be my biggest question, is are they still able to push the cane and then work towards meaningful and purposeful stuff? Like Grace was saying, like I always came up with little jobs for my students, young and old, and they just got really excited to be able to use their cane to be able to go and do these things.
Blanche, I really like that idea. And I think we were kind of talking about earlier too, just even taking the belt off and having him push the cane is something that I kind of want to try. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know. So I think my biggest downfall with him is cognition. We're just, he's been in this preschool since he was like basically right after birth. And he's just like we're a pretty severe charge kiddo. Like we're just cognitively, intellect, everything. Like we are 4. And I mean, maybe we're starting to be that of like a 2-year-old because we're becoming a little more opinionated. And that's the only reason I can really even give you a number, like just cognitively. So I don't even like, that's where I struggle with like task for him. Like he doesn't understand that. I do want to kind of try pushing the cane, or even just like I said, like I have a kiddo that I work with like a single point cane with. I don't know if we'd hold on to like an actual like single point. But she had I guess it's like the Moby cane or whatever, the square one with the wheels. I don't know if he'll hold on to something, because I feel like I don't think we'll understand like, oh, I hold on to this and it shows me where I'm going, versus just like, this is just something else you put in my hand and I'm just going to like hold on to it for a second and then drop it.
Gotcha.
And that's I think that's my biggest struggle with him, because I don't think there's a whole lot of correlation, even when we're walking with the cane, like navigating thresholds and things like that. He'll like put his hands on it, but he won't quite, this is my friend. He won't quite, like he doesn't get that like, oh, the cane goes up, I go up. Or like a cane goes over something, I go over something. Like he's figured out that if he hits something, he has to move around it, but that's about.
So what about, I was having a discussion with the PTs, like there's a bunch of them, they were saying that like their kiddos might have some depth perception issues, and like we were talking about different things, and I told them to just take a hula hoop, because they're not a comms yet, and they weren't sure if this kid had depth perception issues. And so I was like, just take a hula hoop and have them push it, and see if they start to kind of when they bump into things, like their reactions start to change or how they're doing to that. And I know you said he keeps wanting to drop things, but maybe even putting some type of texture on the hula hoop or something that he might like for some purposeful movement.
No, I like that. Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, but you've got to really hand it to Callie what she's accomplished with Braylon. I mean, this child literally would not let go of her or had to use, and then when in the walker, the rear walker, he would mostly stand, right? He had to be constantly motivated to take a step. And then this video, which is on our YouTube, shows it's a beautiful thing. He went all around. So now the question is, now what, right? And that's the most exciting question of all that you're asking, right? It's the most exciting, enticing question that every teacher's been waiting for. He needs something to do. And right, is the bell cane the problem? I'm hoping that our new design, the rubber wheels, I think the metal wheels might be just too much feedback from some kids, and I think that's one of the reasons they pulled them up off the ground. And the rubber wheels, we're going to be transitioning over to them very shortly now. And I want to get them out to people who are using them and seeing that there's some resistance just to see if that changes it. Right? Let's see if those two kids who are highly sensitive kids have a little better time with these duller sensations coming through the wheels. And they're Omni wheels, so they're like all-terrain vehicle. No, the Omni wheel, it's very light. No, and the tip is smaller. We have so much. I don't want to. I'm just so excited about it all. It's just it's not heavier at all, and it's working really cool. Going over grass better, you know what I'm saying? And they're keeping it on the ground. These kids, and some kids who really, we're listening. That's all I want to see. Safe Toddles. The reason we collect videos and collect insights from everybody who uses it is so that we can learn. We don't want to say, like I say, you got to keep it on. But if the kid says, I don't like it, you got to listen. So we're listening, and it takes time, and it takes money, and it takes effort, and it takes the community of O&M specialists to be the voice for these children. They need safety. Everything else follows. The fact that Braylon is so independent now. Come on, right? I mean, that is the triumph of all triumphs, right, Callie? Come on. That's amazing what you did with him.
No, it's definitely amazing to see how far he's come. I got him for PT maybe, I think it was like 2 years ago, and we weren't even we were crawling with our head on the floor. And now he's up and walking, doing his thing. And I think that's been my biggest struggle with mom. Is mom's biggest goal forever was him just to be able to independently walk. And we started with a modified, I took the Moby cane, I put weights on it and tied it around his waist. I made a modified belt cane. Then I was with my ESBI consultant. She was like, hey, I found this company that makes belt canes. We got him one, and he immediately started taking off. And then a couple months later, he was like, I don't need that anymore. I can walk by myself. He just started walking in the classroom. He's made tons and tons of progress, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now we're just kind of fighting the safety behavior aspect of it. But no, yeah, I'm excited to see where things go. And I think a lot of these ideas are going to be good. Hopefully I can help him become a little bit more safe with all of it, as well as a little more purposeful.
I think too, like Grace said, it's kind of up to the classroom teacher now to come up with some activities that are meaningful, purposeful. Our classroom teacher, Addie's classroom teacher, has set up centers in the classroom so that Addie has to walk from center to center and use her belt cane to locate different areas of the classroom. Because before it was, she would just be taken to or pushed to the bathroom and then pushed to her table, and she didn't necessarily have to help go and get her own materials. And now she has to come out into the pod to go to the refrigerator to get her milk and her cheese for snack, and then she has to go back in the classroom and find her table. And so I think now having centers is giving her purpose, and they're consistent. Like there's this routine that they go through every day. And so I think the routine of it has helped Addie learn that there's a reason for moving, having the centers, all the different activities. We've even learned that there are some centers that she just really doesn't like. She sees them coming, she knows they're coming next, and she just doesn't like them. So like lots of learning goes on, and the purpose for moving is there because we're going to set a timer. When the timer goes off, it's time for the next station, or it's time for the bathroom, or it's time for snack. And so I think those routines are really important too. And I don't know if your classroom teacher, if they already have, routines set up, but that's been really helpful here.
No, yeah, I like those ideas a lot for sure. Like I said, I think sometimes it becomes, with my kiddo being unsafe, Braylon being unsafe, I feel like the cane comes off of him, or he sits in his, like he has an activity chair that he's kind of like belted in and things like that with. And we do, like, even with other therapies, I've run into the issue of it becomes more of a hassle to get him out and have him walk places because it takes up more time. He does his thing. So he's a little guy too. So he weighs like 23 pounds. So like everyone just picks him up and carries him because it's easier to do that and quicker. So I've been, even with mom, trying to have that conversation like, hey, I know he's little, but like, let's try to make him, like, he walks to the car now instead of you carrying him to the car. I think the buy-in just isn't quite there yet. I was like, hopefully he'll just gain some weight and then no one wants to carry him anymore because he's too heavy for that. But yeah, I think that's been the hardest thing, just overall, not only like his safety of it, but just the buy-in on like the teacher side of it. Like, I don't think we understand, like, I've tried to be like, no, he wears his cane because like his cane or his, like, those are his eyes. Those help him see where he's going. And there's still like a disconnect there. So if y'all have any suggestions on how to communicate that with classroom staff, I'd be more than happy. Our classroom, like our school, is not for just visually impaired kiddos. These are like there's like 3 out of our entire school, and I have 2 of them on my caseload. So yes, I feel like the teachers just don't know how to interact with him or engage with him, and they struggle with that because a lot of our classrooms tend to be more just kind of like autism, sensory processing, all of that. So it's busy already in that room. So any suggestions on, or any just even information on how to provide that with teachers or staff would be phenomenal. I do
So,
like the walk-in
Callie-
from centers and stuff as well.
Callie,
Sorry, Margie, you can go ahead.
okay. And you probably already thought of this and you're already doing it. Excuse me, is videotaping. They see him the way they see him, but oftentimes when you videotape and when you've got him doing something, if mom's okay with the videotaping, I think that also they see things oftentimes because they're so busy and they've already got an idea. When a child is small, the first thing they think of is, he's still very young and he, hasn't, it's just a whole mindset. But if you do some videotaping of certain, areas or whatever. And I think for them to be able to see that, I know that's really hard because I know you've got other kids than him, but even for mom too, you've probably already done that, right?
Yeah, we do lots of videos. Mom loves all the videos that she gets. Which, it's just like I said, the classroom like sees it, and even like in the hallways, they're like, "Oh, look at you go, Bray!" And I'm like, "Yeah, he can. Like, let him do it in class." I think it's just the carryover, and it's just one more thing. We are like, hopefully, we're getting rid of the activity chair. It has wheels. We are going to get a classroom chair that sits at the table with his peers that has no wheels, so they have to like get him out of the chair and hopefully start walking. I'm trying to like problem solve around it without being like, don't just push him or don't just carry him. So that way they like just they're forced in a good way, highly encouraged, I guess is a better way to say it, to like make him do stuff. Like, hey, you're going to walk to the bathroom for your diaper change. We're not just going to carry you over there. We're not just going to push you in your activity chair. Because I think it is. He's an easy kid. He is perfectly content just chilling in his chair if you let him. So yeah, that's my struggle right now.
Kelly, I have a question. How much vision does this kiddo have?
They don't. He has some light vision. Light and shadows is kind of what they know. They think it's maybe 12 to 14 inches from our face. He
Okay.
definitely can see light, because we'll respond to it. And he can, if I put him on one side of like my gym and like the windows are open with the lights low, like he can navigate fairly well, like with a belt cane or without a belt cane, like to the window. Like certain objects that are like narrower, hard for him to see, or if they're like low to the floor. But if there's like a definite, like if we have a bench there or a mat there, he can typically make himself around it. Um,
Okay. I had
but
a
that's the
lot of
last I've heard.
success. Well, I've had a lot of success actually putting the teachers and the parents under the blindfold. I've actually like made goggles to kind of represent what the kid might see and just have them do like simple tasks like the sensitivity training. I do it with a lot of like hosts, high schools, volunteers, people that are going to come, and it's just like such an eye-opening experience. I mean, if there's a TVI that you know around your area, they may actually have the vision goggles. If not, I've gone to like the Dollar Tree and got like the safety goggles and like painted them or taped them or done all kinds of things. And it like I said, the fact that he's getting around and he knows his environment and that he's got a little bit of vision, like it just might help the teachers to kind of take a step back and kind of just want to, do more and with him.
Yeah. And what was the training you said?
I call it sensitivity training is what we do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have different types of goggles. We put them on the blindfold. We do different tasks. I have a group coming on Monday, some high school kids that are coming and they're so excited about it. We do goal ball with them, and then we do like have them do like everyday simple arts and crafts and walk with the cane, and they just absolutely love it.
No, that's awesome. I like that. I've been trying to get together. I'm trying to find like, again, being a physical therapy, there's not a lot of continuing ed for kids with visual impairments. That's not something that PTs like to talk about because it's a very small niche, and it's just like it's been hard to try to like reach out and like find other people other than like I don't know any O&Ms in my area. So trying to find people that also kind of have those like, hey, what do I do with this kid now? Because like for me as a PT, I'm like, I want to make you functionally independent as possible. But like, what does that look like for you? Um, and I'm trying to put together like I've been talking to the preschool that I work at and trying to get together like a in-service type thing to kind of like help the teachers. Like I said, there's only 2 of our kiddos that are visually impaired currently, and then I have an outpatient that comes in that is as well. But like we're starting to get more kids with like visual impairments and like maybe like depth perception and things like that as well. So just trying to put together some resources for them is like to kind of how they navigate that in the classroom, because it does look different than a typical kiddo or even just an ASD kiddo in the classroom as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like you're doing some amazing things. So obviously you have our email, you can reach out to us, but we also started a closed Facebook group that we have where people have been able to talk about the belt cane. I think it's called Adventures of the Belt Cane, I think is what
Yes.
it's called.
Yeah.
Adventures of the Belt Cane. There's like a tree and then like a belt cane on it. So that's something else that you can maybe join and then be able to maybe talk to I mean, I have a bunch of wonderful PTs in Louisiana that I could connect you with, and y'all could brainstorm. They're fabulous
No,
and
yeah, that
stuff.
would be. And you said that it was Adventures with the Bouquet?
I think it's Adventures. Let me look it up.
I know it's
Oh,
either
you're
up
fine.
or with. I think it's with. I don't know.
My phone is spinning around in a circle.
Oh, Adventures with Belt Cane. And you said it's the Belt Cane's on
Let
the
me
trees.
see.
Okay, I just joined it.
Yep. Yeah, there are 2 up
Let's see.
there. The 2
Okay,
different
so
sizes.
yes, you'll have to answer a couple of questions for to be able to get in, and but yeah, it's not as active as we would like, but it's a good start to be able to kind of post questions. That's what it's designed for, is to be able to post questions and talk about different things in there.
Callie, I
Awesome.
forgot
Yeah.
where you're from. Where are you from? Where are you?
Arkansas.
Okay.
Oh, well, then you can just come over to
Yeah.
Louisiana. Like, just come on down
Yeah,
to
we'll
Louisiana.
just drive on down. No, yeah, I work really closely with ESVI, so like our educational services for visually impaired. I have a girl that I go like hand in hand because she sees all my kiddos and assesses them. So she's like she connected me with like Safe Toddlers and all of that. And I honestly am like looking at going back, like even if I don't go back to like O&M school for like full on like getting like a graduate degree, like even just getting a certificate, like I've even been emailing people. I'm like, I got to figure out something because I was like, I need help with my vision kids. But there's just not a lot of them out there.
That would be great.
Does anyone else have anything that they would like to ask? Have we convinced you of trying the belt cane, or are you still a little not sure?
So I have a colleague who had one of the pediatric belt canes, and I've talked to her about it. And so my little guy he is 4 going on 5, but he does seem like, just kind of looking at the website and the measurements and how to measure and stuff, it seems like this would be a good fit for him, just because he drops when it's loud, and he drops to the floor when he comes across like surface changes and things like that. So definitely going to measure him this week, and we'll see and go from there. And we also had a mom that donated a cane that her daughter was using for a while. I don't know if she outgrew it. I don't know. I'm not her O&M. So, but we have a cane in our office that we can actually maybe see if that works too. But I'll also measure him and go from there. But I was going to ask, did you say you also do customizable sizes as well?
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, I don't know how many more custom than standard we do because there's so many variations on a theme, but the standard sizes, they're given to sort of show the ranges of the size 6, size 7, size 8, size 9. But we just sent out one that was a size 7 frame with a length of a 6, and we do the reverse. So we just try to make it work. And sometimes we have to do a lot of back and forth, over the email. And then even then we get it in and it's still that. These kids are hard to measure. This is all I could say. They're very squirmy. I don't know what it is, but they just don't want it. They won't want any part of being measured.
Well, and they grow too, it's like.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
I do appreciate the videos, and I've also seen a Safe Toddles webinar on the Arizona AER webpage. So I know like the videos are out there, and the webinars you can join, and like the past ones that you can view and all that. So I mean, the information's out there. So I just want to thank you ladies for presenting y'all's information and showing some of those kiddos in the videos. So thank you.
Thanks for coming.
I don't know if anybody's going to the AER International Conference this summer, but I know Grace is going to be speaking, and we are going to also be doing. You're not?
I don't think I don't know. Did you get your notice? They haven't said anything.
It's supposed to be this week.
I'm definitely going. That's all I'm saying. I'm definitely going.
Well,
one way or the other.
We were accepted for one of 2 presentations so far. We don't know about the second one. So
is that a belt cane presentation?
Yes.
Yay! Well,
so we're waiting.
We're
hoping to have 2.
There.
Yeah, we're hoping to have 2 90-minute sessions. So if you can come, even, we don't know anything more than that. We just found out yesterday. Partly. Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's in North Carolina.
Yes. Charlotte.
That's right.
Yeah. In July 24th to the 28th.
And we'll be doing these, if you know anyone else who wants to join, the second Tuesday next month, and we'll see how it goes. These are wonderful women are giving of their time and expertise, and I really appreciate you guys, Jerry and Blanche and Margie, just for coming out and sharing, and everyone for showing up. I hope we answered some of your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate you hosting and y'all jumping on. So the next Tuesday in April that we're doing it, we're going to talk about some of the obstacles and some of the tougher topics with the belt cane when you're first getting it and some of the things. So maybe y'all can all get your belt cane and then you can hop on the call in a month and we can talk about some of that stuff. So
That's
Yeah.
great.
What sorry, what day? What day?
it's the
What is-
second Tuesday. Hold on, let me look
So
at my
that'll be the
calendar.
9th.
The 9th. Is it
of
on the
April.
face? Is my colleague sent me the Facebook link, but I don't have Facebook. So I called Safe Toddles today and he gave me the Zoom link. It was Bill
Yeah.
Gillister or something.
Yeah.
Link. But how do I find the Zoom for next?
Yes,
So,
Grace,
you're right.
Would it be the same? Would it be the same link?
Well, it can be, absolutely. And I could figure out a way to put it on the website. Would that be easier to go there? Is that where you looked for it?
Well, I looked on the website, but I can always call. I'll just put it on my
Yeah,
calendar and
But
then
I
call.
feel like other people might have been looking for it who weren't on Facebook. So we put it on, I put it on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And everyone else sent it out. So I'll make a little page for the thing for everyone. And then you could tell me what the topics are and if we're going to have a hiatus or whatever, moving forward, what the dates are. We'll make it a whole thing. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you, guys.
informative.
Hey, y'all, thank you.
Thanks so much for
Thank
coming,
you.
everybody. Okay, Grace, do you have a minute?
I do.
I had a couple questions about, did you get my measurements on my newest little guy?
Did Bill not write back? I mean, if he didn't write back, he didn't get them. He would usually act
Okay.
on it very
I'll-
quickly.
Yeah, usually he does. That's why I
Yeah,
wondered.
yeah,
Okay.
no, because I think we'd been talking about where's all the Jerry stuff. And so you said we had new videos come in and this. So something is
Yeah.
not translating. So let's fix that.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be.
Yeah. You know us, we're right on. We just love to get those belt games. It's our
Yes,
favorite thing.
I love them too. It's my favorite thing too.
I know it. What's the time frame from the time you order to just approximate? I know everybody's different, especially if you got to have a special order and everything. Just what time frame from
Well,
time?
we have it where you could go on and if you ordered before 3, we'll ship it out the next day.
Oh
So
my
if
God!
you know what size you want and you know what you want, we have
Okay.
nothing holding us up. And then it's free matter for the blind.
That's great.
It's less than a week typically.
Okay, that's
But
super.
the only thing that would stop is you get a measurements that don't make sense and you have to make sure of that, or somebody wants to join a study. So they have to send us a video before we will send them the belt cane because we need to get the whole thing situated with the Google Drive or what have you. And so that can slow it down. But once they've pulled the trigger, sent the video, boom, we get it right out the door. So we have a dedicated factory in Fishkill, New York. We have staff that are building these belt canes, people helping us with the customer service. And, we're working on getting development money so that we can grow and do more marketing. We have been deemed a medical necessity, Margie, by physical therapists, pediatric
wow.
ophthalmologists. We are now presenting at APOS, which is the American Association of Pediatric Ophthalmology and Strabismus. We have a presentation there. We're at ARVO, which is another ophthalmology conference. We have a poster there, and we have a medical advisory team. We're doing research because everything changes when you give them that 2 steps of warning.
Yeah.
And I just wish there were a way that you and I and Jerry, that we could help the early intervention community
Yeah.
understand something that we all understand about babies. Babies need to feel safe in order to take risks,
Yes.
right? No one's saying bubble wrap. We're just saying that if you feel safe, like if you feel like you could take a risk, like Jerry said, they are going to tumble because they're out there taking these risks now. And so this just allows them to take risks in a way. And so there's nothing sinister behind any of it.
No, and the thing is, we all know that a child has to feel safe before they start moving.
Yeah.
So you don't, like you said, safety first. If you don't,
how do I get a meeting of the minds of the very influential early intervention orientation
Well,
mobility set, you know,
And
it
I
just,
feel like the staff, university staff and the people that are training O&Ms are maybe not on board
it's
or unaware.
not really training on it
If
much
you
at
don't,
all, if at
if you
all.
don't work with toddlers or people who are using pre-canes, how would you know? I mean, what would how would they gain that information? I know that you have a chapter in the foundations book, right?
Yeah.
But without having that experience, the exposure and seeing the progress being made, I mean, I am a believer because I've seen it.
right.
The progress is like, it's like an explosion of learning after they start moving with the cane. I just can't believe how fast my little girl has improved. And without seeing it with my own eyes, I don't know that I would think, well, my kid might not be a candidate, but
I've
seriously,
got to show you this video. I mean, I'll send it to you. It's 7.5 minutes, but it's all these kids that you would just say they're not hardly walking. They're in these big control, and then
Yep.
to change just wearing the belt cane. Some of them go from not walking to walking. Some of them are in these big contractions who are like, the guy's like, I'm running, and he just keeps saying, I'm running, and it just sounds like Forrest Gump, and he's just so happy. Whereas before they're like, come on, take another step, and
Right,
he'd be like, you know, I
right.
don't want to go. And now he's like, I'm running, and they're like, we're gonna go to this room. He's like, I'm running. He's like, I don't want to go to some room. I just want to run through the hallways today. That's the power of having that extra
Well,
feedback when you don't have the feedback
right.
that you need.
Well, it's
here.
not only early intervention, it's also, we still have the profession still saying you have to give them a white cane first. And, you know, and there's, you know, we're
worse.
trying.
No, it's worse than that. It's you have to get them oriented first. You have to get them walking first before you think of safety at all. And that, my friends, originates in 1797 when doctors Blacklock and Moyes published in the 3rd edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica that you better give them broken bones and bloody noses lest they sit idle, these blind children. And that just shows you that we have said that from the beginning. Get them going, get them moving. Not why are they not going?
Right.
And it hasn't worked. It doesn't. It is a very tough thing that we're asking of these kids, not to be safe and to move.
Right.
Mobility comes, that's how I want to say it now. Mobility comes before orientation in the dictionary, and it comes before orientation in learning. You have to start with safe mobility. Everything else then is possible. All the fun stuff is possible because now everybody's relaxed. Like, all right, now let's go.
Well, yeah, we've got to come up with something different. Now, we were told, I talked to Neva yesterday and she said, well, I called her because she had sent me this email saying that they wanted to change they were real. She loves the belt cane, by the way. Did you know that?
I did not. I'm thrilled to hear it.
Me too. She said, I've always felt that the need for that and, you know, the efficacy of it. But she said, you know, and this has never happened where the review committee comes back to the presenters to be and says, we want you to get the audience that you need to get. And we don't feel that your title is going to bring the people that you want. And I think that's phenomenal. And I said, thank you so much.
That is very nice.
It was very nice. What a courtesy. And they've done that to a number of speakers where they felt, you know, let's get the audience. And so we had a nice conversation about what the audience, you know, who we need to be working on. And so we're going to change our title. We're going to change our descriptor. And so I want to pull you in on that too.
Yes.
Just, you know, and you, I know you, did you submit more than one?
I'll tell you what happened. Bill Penrod and I finished that NIU study. The results, I mean, out of the park with 80% of the time spent sitting with before, 80% of the time spent standing solo, walking solo, running, getting into trouble, right? So it's just, of course, safety helps. So it's their study. He is first author. It is the NIU study of the efficacy of the belt canes. I'm like, submit. So he submitted, he showed me what he was submitting. And I'm like, I don't think it's going to get selected. I think very much at all. And I told him what I thought, you might want to pull some of the data, a couple of discussion sets, like you might want to read the report. It said like a study of kids did something, like it was so bad. I'm like, I don't think they're going to select that one, but we're going to be vendors, and we're also going to have a board meeting there. And
I'm
we're gonna
glad
go
that
to yours, and so we'll definitely be enjoying that AER International.
Well, I'm hoping we have both 90-minute sessions.
That would be
really
awesome.
am. That would be phenomenal. But I'm glad to hear that you're going to be a vendor, because I think it would be great, because I know there's still more to talk about. And I know that those of us on our little group would love to be a part of that table to help people explain
Yay!
yeah. I think it would be fabulous.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, great. That would be wonderful. I said, gosh, the expense for a vendor is unbelievable. And who was it? I guess it was Jerry. I don't remember who said it, but they were like, well, giving out all these canes, and then you expect them to pay this much money, but I think, again, that's where we're going to get a lot of people have gone to the session and have a lot of questions, and there's not going to be enough time to
But
answer
here's
all
the thing
of
I want us to remember. It has now been stated, it has been paid for by Medicaid, because it is a medical necessity. If you want your blind toddler to walk the developmental milestones, you no longer have to accept anything less than walking on developmental milestone timeline. They are perfectly capable
That's
of
fabulous.
achieving their developmental milestone timetable if they have nothing physically wrong with them. And even if they have some physical ailments, they're going to follow their potential developmental milestones, whatever their potential is. The blindness is not, it's like the whole thing with this motivation baloney. It's like, yes, I get it. There are motivators and there are non-motivators. The first one is I feel safe.
Exactly.
Within my ability to stand still. I can stand still in the middle of the room. That's huge. And then I can decide to walk or not walk, and then I can decide if I'm going this way or that way. So then beyond that, as you heard me say 3 times today,
that's okay.
That's the fun.
Yeah.
That's why we got into this business. We've always been wanting to get them to use that long cane, so then we could teach them all the fun stuff, all the orientation stuff, but we could never get there. Now we're there. And I'm hoping this new design, it's got some aspects that we're going to be bringing a lot of them around, showing it off. I'm very excited about the new Omni wheel.
When is that coming out?
Well, we're right in the process of transitioning. So we're going to finish out the last 20 or so metal wheels as we're gearing up to tool over and now start fully producing those. And we're working on the stability belt, we're trying to make it so it's harder to move to the side. It's tough. We've tried some variations. One comment was, though, it won't get out of the way. So I'm like, well, that one's working. But now
there's always a fire to put out. You bring up a great point regarding the Medicaid. So is that still per state, or is that something that every year they can get a new one, or is that, what are the parameters of that? Because that would be great.
Yeah.
I just want to know.
This is what I've understand about it. When you get it, that the rules are you submit it through your durable medical equipment supplier. They have a system for getting reimbursed. That decision is made, and only then will they pull the trigger on buying it. But so that is a system that has got a lot of, you could get on a bad day. So far, it's been working. Then what happened was it broke. So Mom ran over it in a car.
Oops.
So then they had to buy the next one because Medicaid was like, that wasn't whatever normal wear and tear that
Right,
or usage that would then cause you. So if you outgrow it, if you've worn it out due to, if it's because you need it and this one is no longer serving you, yes, we'll get you the next one too. So that's how it was
Because
explained to me.
I feel like it is a separation, right? Because the long cane is not covered. So when they graduate or they achieve their pre-cane skills and move on to a cane, it's now on the school's responsibility versus Medicaid's responsibility at that age, right? So, is there any way to kind of make that the same transition? Or
I know. Well, it's abominable what Medicare and Medicaid don't pay for when it comes to blind and low vision people. We're like the disability that's still marginalized in a very real way. So there are people advocating. Ann Corn, Margie, did you see her article that she wrote about getting low vision devices covered? It's just white canes. I mean, what are we talking about? Of course they have to have these white canes. Why wouldn't they be covered by the insurance? Wheelchairs that costs how many thousands of dollars more than a white cane?
Exactly. Well, it's just a very slow process, but you've been able to at least do that with these kids.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you what, I just want us all as O&M specialists to be very clear about. There's absolutely important that we continue to innovate.
Yes.
That we continue to push for greater acceptance of safe mobility.
Safe Toddlers is a nonprofit.
Our mission is to provide parents with a white cane solution for keeping their toddlers who are blind safe as they explore and learn about their world.
For more information, contact us, info@safetoddlers.org, or call 845-244-6600. You can change a life by donating a belt cane today.
We need our music. I'm going to stop recording.